So here's what we got. We've got the first line draw to indicate the range. This is really representing the launch velocity before there was a collision. So now you guys should do this with a full scale model, whether you have it or not. I'm going to do it right here on my iPad because that's what I've got. And it is, let's see, 17.5 centimeters long. Don't know why I wrote it over there. Now, I'm going to be comparing this to other measurements in a minute. But in comparing it, I'm going to be using the size of this range as how much error there is. And I'm going to do so by looking at how wide that line is. That line is 2 centimeters wide. So this is plus or minus 1 centimeter, which means it's not really 17.5. The actual things that hit the paper everywhere from 18.5 to 16.5, right? Plus or minus. Follow me? All right. So I'm gonna draw my next bit of data. Trying to draw a right triangle because what I'm really looking at, of course, is these colors are not showing up great. So, although this is R up, I need R up in the X direction and R up in the Y direction. Everybody see what I'm doing here? All good? All right. Well, I'm noticing that over in my thing here, I got, that seems to be the Y directions plus or minus, and this seems to be the X directions plus or minus. No, I got those backwards. So this one is plus or minus X, and this one is plus or minus Y. So I'm going to do some measurements now. Plus or minus X seems to be 2.5, which means 1.25. And plus or minus Y seems to be 1.5. So plus or minus 0.75. Everybody see what I'm doing? We all okay so far? Yep.
How do you know which one is the X and the Y? Because isn't X the
I made X this way and Y this way. Is that okay with you? I didn't mark it on there, but I have now. Now, if you had your paper turned, you might have your Y and X different. But that's just arbitrary, right? There's that word again. Okay, so back to work here. Let's see, I want... All right, so got more measurements to take. This is 8.5 and 4. So RUY is actually 4 plus or minus 0.75. And 8.5 is 8.5 plus or minus 1.25. All good so far? One more to go. I'm going to get an A on this stupid lab. All right. So this represents that one. And I'm going to have r down x and r, God, that's hideous. The color is burning my brain. R down x and r down y. And let's see, I got to measure the y and the x. So the y appears to be a centimeter. So plus or minus y is 0.25. And plus or minus x, that's about it. Plus or minus x is 1 centimeter. Okay, so I got to measure. R down in the y direction is 5.5. And the x direction, 12.5. But it's 12.5 plus or minus 0.25, and it's 5.5 plus or minus 1 centimeter. All right, I've taken all my measurements. I'm so excited. So now I've taken all my measurements. I want compare R naught with R x upper, or R upper x plus R down x. And I want to compare 0 with R up y plus R down y. I'm comparing. So looking at my values, let's do the R naught. It's 17.5 plus or minus 1. Is that equal to, let's see, R upper y, 8.5 plus or minus 1.25 plus 12.5 plus or minus 0.25. Trying to see if they're in the range. Now, I don't think they are. Because, and the way I'm supposed to do error is you don't actually add the errors together. When you're adding, the largest one wins. But I don't care if you add them together or not. But the true way you're supposed to do it, and I thought maybe you guys had done this before, but when you're adding errors, the largest error wins. When you're multiplying errors, you add the errors together. So here we're just adding, so the largest error wins. So this is 18.5 plus 12.5, that's 21 plus or minus 1.25. Is that within the range of 17.5 plus or minus 1? No, it's not. And I still had people who said, I don't understand where you got that. What do you mean it's not? Well, 17.5 plus or minus 1 is from 16.5 to 18.5. And 21 plus or minus 1.25 is from 19.75 to 22.25. I took 21 and I subtracted 1.25, 19.75. I took 21 plus 1.25 and got 22.25. Are these in the same range? Is there any overlap between these? And there's not. So I did not show conservation of momentum in the x direction, because I am outside the room for error. Good? You do the same thing for the other side. Except those two numbers are supposed to be equal. So is 5.5, because this is R down in the y direction, is it equal to R up in the y direction? I have 5.5 plus or minus 1 centimeter. Does it equal 4 plus or minus 0.75? Well, 5.5 plus or minus 1 goes from 4.5 to 6.5. And 4 plus or minus 0.75 goes from 3.25 to 4.75. these overlap. Right? Oh, wait, no, they don't. Yeah, they do. They overlap. Yeah, they overlap. The 4.5 to 6.5 overlaps because we go into the 4. It doesn't overlap much, but now there's statistics to handle whether they overlap enough. I'm not asking you to do the statistics. You can just use it. They overlap. You could probably say, all right, kind of see it in the Y direction, but I don't see it in the X direction.